The views expressed on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast are that of Jerry Cahill and guests, and not necessarily those of the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Nothing on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast should be considered medical advice. Such advice can only be given by a physician who is experienced with cystic fibrosis. The Boomer Esiason Foundation, Jerry Cahill and guests cannot be held responsible for any damage which may result from using the information on this podcast without the permission of your medical doctor. You're listening to the Jerry Cahill CF podcast presented by the Boomer Esiason Foundation and jerrycahill.com.
Welcome to Jerry Cahill's Living, Breathing, Succeeding podcast series presented by the Boomer Esiason Foundation. This show, CF teen Morgan Coxhead completes Ironman in isolation, has been made possible with financial support from Mylan Pharmaceutical. Today you will meet 16-year-old Morgan Coxhead from Cornwall, UK. After many hospital stays during his first year of life due to respiratory infections, Morgan was finally diagnosed with cystic fibrosis on his first birthday. I managed to pull through and I've been fighting ever since, states Morgan. Diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and dysgraphia at age 7, Morgan knew that academics was not his thing. Morgan says, "I like to move, so I turned my focus onto sport."
I'm Morgan, I'm 16, I have cystic fibrosis. As a young child, I spent much of my time in and out of hospital with having lots of IV antibiotics. I lived with my mum, my dad, my sister, my two brothers. My oldest brother also has cystic fibrosis. He's doing well. We always try and exercise and keep active a lot of the time. And I like to turn things into competitions. It makes me work a bit harder and we can just battle against each other, which I think really helps. Well, school days were really hard for me because I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 7 and dysgraphia. This meant sitting down and writing was incredibly difficult for me. School was unmanageable and I was barely attending, really, hardly ever. And mentally, I wasn't really coping with school. But sports and exercise, it sort of gave me an outlet on everything, really. And it made me feel much better mentally, physically, and really everything really about myself. I was obviously encouraged by mum and dad to always exercise, as they knew making exercise an all part of my life would be really important to help me manage my CF. I think maybe they wanted me to just burn all the energy off. And it turns out I was actually quite good at gymnastics, even won a few competitions. So I think that's when I first started exercising and obviously doing lots of sport. I started playing football as soon as I could walk, kicking footballs. There's pictures of me kicking footballs and stuff. But I started properly playing at age 9. And I played a few games. I joined a team and obviously I was quite scared of not being able to play the whole match because of CF, which sort of scared me. So my dad sort of said, how about you play half in goal and half outfield? So I think I played half outfield my first game, and then I went in goal second half, and I was quite good at that. And it sort of stuck ever since then, really. People saying that because I have CF, I won't be able to do stuff, sort of made me more determined that I will be able to do it, just prove them wrong. It was a big factor for me. I left school early. I went to college, which is a different environment, which I found really helpful. I completed a sports course and I passed with a double distinction, which is the highest grade possible. I never thought I'd achieve that, obviously having ADHD. Football is my favourite sport. I think obviously since I was young, I've wanted to be the first person with cystic fibrosis to become a professional footballer. And obviously I'm not going to stop until that dream comes true. I played for 4 teams. I played for college, my college team. Played for 2 local teams, men's team and an under-18, Sticker FC and Charlestown. And I also represent the county, Cornwall, under-18s.
Now let me ask you a question. So you've played football, you've done gymnastics. What led you to think of doing an Ironman?
Wow. Well, obviously there's a big charity event in England called the London Marathon, which is a 26-mile run. But because of COVID-19, it was cancelled. So I decided to, I thought of a challenge that I could do whilst in lockdown. And I thought, well, my mum runs a local charity called Just Breathe Cornwall, and which we're also going to miss out on fundraising at the London Marathon. So I decided to think of a challenge, and it was the Ironman challenge. It involved a 2.6 mile swim, 26 mile run, and 126 mile bike ride, all in 2.6 days. I started with the swim in the 10 by 3 foot deep paddling pool. You attach a bungee around your waist and attach it to a pole, and you sort of you start swimming, and you stay in the same position, and it just replicates you swimming, really. Then I did the run, 26 mile run around the back garden. The furthest I've ever run before I've done the 26 miles was about 10 miles, but I was determined to just give it a go and try my best and try my hardest. I managed to run the first 13 miles in about 2 hours 20 minutes. It was really, really tough. My legs were really aching and I was dripping in sweat, but my lungs felt quite good. I think the bike ride was the hardest bit. Everything hurts. I was about an hour in and my bum was in agony, sitting on the really hard seat for a bit. And I didn't really think it through, because a lot of, when people do a long bike ride, they do it on a road bike, and I did mine on a mountain bike on a turbo machine, and it's not really designed to go 126 miles. So I did the swim in just over an hour. I did the run in about 5.5 hours, and then the bike ride in 12.6. So I did the swim and the run the same day, and then I did the cycle the next day.
Oh wow! So that made it even more difficult, because the next day you're a little sore.
Yeah, I'm very sore the next day, and then the day after I was sleeping the whole day. Sport and exercise is what keeps me sane, really. Mentally, it keeps my focus. It's my escape when things get tough. It makes me feel good about myself. In the 2 years that I've been training since the Man City camp I've been training seriously hard and a lot. I haven't had to go on IVs for those 2 years, so just gonna keep pushing hard. Definitely had days where I'm not motivated and I obviously feel rubbish sometimes. But I think even when I feel rubbish, I remind myself that exercise is what makes me feel better, physically and mentally. So I always try, and even if I feel good, if I feel bad, always try and exercise.
And what advice would you want to give other children or adults with CF about the importance of exercise?
I think get involved, try everything and any sport possible. Find what you like doing and what you're good at. And remember, you only live once, so be the very best you can be.